Overjoyed, the merchant grabbed Spike's shoulder and began shaking enthusiastically.
Oh, you got it, you got it, you got it!
Spike held a hoof to his head to steady himself as he recovered. He shook his head to clear it and saw that the merchant was now sitting at an organ. Spike didn't know how he missed that or how the strange merchant even got it there in the first place.
Pinkie Pie would be proud.
Then listen to me. Please play the song that I am about to perform, and remember it well.
The pony played a few notes, and Spike followed along with the flute. It was harder to play with hooves than with claws, but Spike did his best. The merchant would play a couple notes at a time, and Spike would copy them. And they repeated this process a few times. It was a fairly simple melody, and Spike soon had memorized how it went.
Good. Now play it all together.
Spike shrugged and raised the flute to his lips again. He didn't know how playing the song would turn him back into a dragon, but he had no other choice and started to play. The song was rather mellow and haunting, yet soothing to the soul. As the sound of the song filled the room, Spike once again found himself caught in a vision. He saw himself, that is to say, the unicorn cult version of himself floating away from him. As the fall flowed away, Spike felt peace. However, the feeling of peace seemed to be radiating from the unicorn Spike. Spike noticed that the unicorn was smiling, and tears of joy were streaming down the colt's face. Seeing that the strange, altered image of himself was at peace, Spike waved to it. When he waved, he saw that he no longer had a hoof, but a claw. The vision ended, and Spike found himself in the chamber again. He heard something hitting the floor, but he was too busy observing himself.
Scales? Check. Spines? Check. Claws? Check. Breath?
He inhaled and breathed out a jet of emerald flames.
Check. Hi, me again!
He then looked down to see what the noise he had heard earlier was. At his feet was a mask. It was purple, had a green mane, and a horn growing out of it. The mask resembled the unicorn version of himself that he was transformed into. Spike picked up the mask, studying it.
This is a melody that heals evil magic and troubled spirits. I'm sure it will be of assistance to you in the near future.
The mask suddenly disappeared, and Spike felt something inside his mind.
It would seem that the spirit of the mask is chosen to lend you its power. When you choose, you can call upon the power of the mask to transform yourself into the form you once were.
I will continue to help you.
Wait, you were with me ever since I was cursed.
He spoke to the voice. Although he couldn't see it, he sensed that the spirit nodded to him.
Who are you?
It's a secret to everybody.
Now I have fulfilled my promise to you.
The merchant interrupted Spike's internal conversation. The merchant held out his hoof as if he was expecting something.
So, please, give me that which you promised me.
Spike could do nothing but look to the floor sheepishly.
Don't tell me. My mask. You did get it back, didn't you?
Well...
Spike wasn't able to finish that sentence, for the pony had lifted him into the air. The merchant's eyes were wide with fury as he shook the small dragon.
What have you done to me?
He dropped Spike and grabbed the sides of his head as he rocked back and forth in panic.
If you leave my mask out here, something terrible will happen. The mask that was stolen from me. It is called Discord's mask. It is an accursed item from legend that is said to contain the spirit of this harmony. Long ago, Princess Celestia and Princess Luna used the elements of harmony to seal Discord into a mask. It is said that whoever wears the mask will have access to Discord's powers.
The merchant now clasped his hooves and looked pleadingly to the heavens.
The royal sisters hid the mask, but I went to great lengths to get that legendary mask back. Ever since I got it, I could feel the darkness that was within it.
He collapsed to the floor, sobbing.
No, the dark alicorn has it.
He crawled over to Spike and wrapped his forelegs around the dragon's legs and cried into his feet.
I am begging you. You must get that mask back quickly, or something horrible will happen. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. You must do it.
All right, all right, all right.
Spike said as he pushed the hysterical pony off his feet.
I'll do it. Just get a grip. Sheesh. Endeavor Pony says Rarity is the drama queen.
Really? You'll do it for me?
The merchant looked up to him hopefully. The stallion stood up and regained his composure.
I was sure you would. Don't worry. You'll be fine.
Yeah, thanks.
Spike said confused as he exited through the door, anxious to get away from the lunatic. Heading now into the plaza, he saw the gate to the south. Wasting no time, he made his way there. There was a Pegasus guard in front of the gate, just like there had been at the east gate. He shared the same unfriendly expression as his comrade. If he was anything like the other guard, Spike might have a problem just walking out by himself, but he didn't have time for that.
Halt! Stop right now!
The guard began to order, but Spike breathed a bit of flame at the guard's hooves, causing him to jump out of the way.
Out of the way, Flyboy.
Spike taunted as he ran past a startled guard. Spike ran outside and immediately saw the forest in the distance. It wasn't quite what he expected. Dark clouds hung over the forest, and he could see a mist swirling around within the trees. If the unicorns were supposed to be the more fancy and aesthetics-loving types of ponies, why were they living in a forest that was so creepy that it could give the Everfree Forest a run for its money? Spike approached the entrance of the forest and saw a sign by the trail. One arrow read, "This way to Sweet Apple Acres." Spike was pleased to know that the Apple family was apparently also in Trodna, but this wasn't the time to stop by for a chat. The other arrow read, "This way to Prince Blueblood's palace." Spike rolled his eyes.
Great. That stuck a moron is here too.
The spirit of the unicorn mask laughed in agreement to Spike's description of the unicorn prince. Reluctantly, the dragon made his way to the boorish prince's residence. The clouds and fog made the forest look unnaturally dark, even though it was in the middle of the day, and the sounds of animals scurrying about didn't help with the creepy atmosphere of the forest. Spike tried to suppress his fears as he walked along the path. He came to a stop when he smelled something rotten. He sniffed again, trying to locate the source of the odor. But
Whoa!
he almost fell into it when he turned around a bend in the path. There was a swamp in the middle of the road. It appears that the forest had been flooded by a toxic-looking, foul-smelling liquid. In the distance, through the fog and haze, Spike could see the castle in the distance. As far as Spike could tell, the mire surrounded the castle like a deadly moat. Spike began to wonder how he would get across the swamp when he heard a cry of distress. "Help! Help! Somebody help!" From the forest, a donkey emerged. She collided into Spike, causing them to crash into the ground. As she recovered from the collision, she saw that she was tangled up with a dragon and screamed.
It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you.
You can talk?
She said, amazed as Spike helped her to her hoofs.
Of course I can.
He said as he dusted himself off.
But you're a dragon.
Yeah?
I thought dragons eat things like me.
Not this dragon. My name's Spike.
I'm Matilda. Oh my goodness, Dakora! Listen, you gotta help me. My friend is hurt and I need help moving her.
Spike followed the donkey off the trail and into the forest. She led him through a winding maze of trees and fog. Somehow, she knew where she was going.
I found her lying in the middle of the forest as I was trying to find a way to the palace. I tried to lift her, but I'm too old and... Oh no!
They came to a clearing and saw the hooded zebra lying unconscious on the ground. They also saw a pack of timber wolves closing in on her. Spike was horrified, but then something within him burned. Loathing for the wooden beast filled his heart as he remembered that it was the same type of creatures that caused him to be separated from his home. Now, they were about to attack a zebra who couldn't defend herself. Without thinking, the dragon ran up to the nearest monster. It was preparing to dive in for the kill, but then its hindquarters were set ablaze. The canine howled in pain and sprinted away. As it ran, the emerald flames consumed the wooden beast and it crumbled into ash. The other timberwolves saw this and turned their attention to Spike. They growled as they began to charge at him. The lead wolf was hit in the face by a green fireball and suffered the same fate as the other wolf. The remaining wolves halted their attack and retreated as Spike ran after them, breathing fire. After they had fled to the forest, Spike returned to Matilda's side. She was helping Sakura to rise by placing herself under one of her forelegs. Spike got underneath the other foreleg, and the two of them dragged the zebra from the clearing. Matilda led the way to Sakura's hut. As they placed the zebra on the bed, she began to stir.
The potion that is blue will make me good as new.
Spike was impressed. Even when she was barely conscious, she spoke in rhyme. Matilda hurried to a shelf, checking the bottles on it for the required elixir. After locating it, she rushed to Sakura's side and helped her drink it. Matilda passed the bottle to Spike as Sakura's vitality returned. Spike looked at the potion. Curious, he put the bottle to his lips and took a sip. It was like he drank liquid lightning. His limbs briefly shuddered from the effect.
Powerful drink, don't you think?
Spike turned and saw Sakura smirking at him.
Oops, sorry. I was...
It's all right, my friend. For without you, I would have met my end. Sakura, what happened to you? I was investigating the forest to search for the cause of unrest. The forest has become a bog filled with poison and fog, but I was attacked from behind. from a mare with an evil mind. On the ground I lay, until you came today. I believe the curses of the Alacon, and it causes our Trotana to mourn.
Thank you for helping us, Spike. But do you suppose that you could help me with something?
Sure, what is it?
There has been a phone napping.
A fall napping? Didn't those jugglers mention that the other day? Going to mention, but whatever.
Prince Bloodlet's fiancée, Lady Rarity, and her sister, Lady Sweetie Belle, have disappeared, and they're accusing my dear Doodle.
Spike's heart leapt when he heard that Rarity was in danger, but it sank when it realized that she was Blue Blood's fiancée. Regardless, she and Sweetie Belle are in danger, and an innocent Doodle was being blamed for it.
They say he's to be executed at sundown in 2 days.
Don't worry, Matilda.
Spike said, placing the claw on her shoulder.
I'll save Rarity and Sweetie Belle, and prove Doodle's innocence.
Thank you. I don't let him hear you call him that. He prefers to be called Cranky. He only lets me call him Doodle.
Tomorrow, I'll use my boat to row you across the moat.
Spike nodded in appreciation. Tomorrow, Spike had to face the most snobbish, conceited, self-absorbed pony that the dragon knew of. Frankly, Spike would rather be eaten by timberwolves. Ponyville, Day 1, 10 o'clock p.m. The evening train pulled into the station at Ponyville. Rarity stepped onto the platform in a huff, carrying a cart loaded with a tower of luggage. She was absolutely livid. It turned out that Count Hayamai rivaled Prince Blueblood in abhorrence. The Count was one of the most chauvinistic and hedonistic stallions Rarity had the displeasure to ever encounter. She had dreamed that he would sweep her off her hooves and treat her like the lady that she is, but he only had one thing on his mind. He had invited her up to his estate. He hoped that he could seduce her. His attempts were met with a quick slap across the face. Rarity had reached her home as the day's unpleasant events replayed in her mind. She entered her home and released her cat, Opalescence, from her pet carrier. Reflecting her owner's attitude, the Persian cat followed Rarity to the bedroom in a huff. Rarity began to unpack her suitcases and sighed in disappointment.
Oh, Opal. It seems as though my dreams of finding a true gentlecoat will never come true. It's always the same. Every stallion that attempts to court me only sees me as a prize. To them, I am just some trophy to cling to their foreleg to show off. Oh, why can't I find somebody who would treat me with love and respect?
As Rarity finished her lamentation, she opened a drawer and saw a case in her dresser. She frowned and paused her unpacking to levitate it with her magic out of the drawer. She knew all too well what she had placed in it. She opened it to reveal a gold necklace with a fire ruby set in it. She thought of the one who had so selfishly given her the valuable gift.
He always treated me like a lady. When he tried to confess his love for me, I turned him away.
She observed how the red gem was in the shape of a heart. A single tear ran down her cheek.
He gave his heart to me.
Ashamed of herself, she placed the necklace back in its case returned it to the drawer.
She will as soon as I return to her. It will be the same with each element that you recover. No, why am I yawning? That. No, okay. Try that line again, shall I? No huge intake of oxygen, please, Muse. Now that you have your flute black. Flute black? What? Seriously? That's not the line, Muse. That's not the line. Now that you have your flute black. I did it again. Flute back. That's the line, not flute black. Like, oh, sorry, Celestia, but my flute is supposed to be silver. Why is it black? I don't know. Did you dip it in tar? I don't think so. What am I supposed to do with this flute now? It doesn't sound as good that's been dipped in black paint. Okay, right. Flute back. That's the line, right? I should stop saying flute black. Okay. Try this line again. Now that you have your flute black. Oh, not again. Oh, no. It's not flute black. Ah. Okay, come on, you can do this line.
Entering through the doors, Spike was greeted by the stomach. Are you serious? Want to say something? What the hell, man? The hell? Let me try that again.